Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin' Robbie Billups. This is the weekly comic book review. It's the show where I read a lot of comic books and I let you know what I thought about them, and we always start with a pick of the week. And this week's pick of the week, Grommets, issue number 3 from Image Comics. This is written by Rick Remender and Brian Posehn. Brett Parson on the art, Marino Dionisio on the coloring. This is just a great, humorous, yet charming slice-of-life book about kids in the 80s. It's about these two skateboarding kids. They're not the popular kids at school, and it's just about their day-to-day life, right? And like I said, it has charm to it. It also has crude and rude humor to it, but it really comes across with heart and with charm, and the artwork really helps sell this book. Now, this has been going on for 3 issues. It's a 7-issue series, and I have been loving it. The last issue had a really great Taco Bell scene. This one's got some nice arcade scenes where the kids get high, they skip school, they go play the arcade, and it's just fun, and it just feels authentic, and it feels real. It also has so many references to the 80s, and I know that's like nostalgia bait, but you know what? It's nostalgia bait designed strictly for me. I love this book. I think it really is going to reach further than we've even seen so far, and I mean that through the depths of the story and the characters and their involvements, right? There's not really a book about conflict. It's just a slice of life day in the life type thing. It's like a Clerks or a Dazed and Confused or something like that, but in the 80s, not the 90s or the 70s, right? So Grommets is awesome. I'm having fun with it. This was a great issue, and it's the 5th Wednesday. There's not a whole lot of comics out this week. There's some solid ones, but for me, Grommets just stood out. I loved it. I thought it was great. Then we got The Department of Truth, issue number 24. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. This book is usually just somebody explaining something to somebody else, but Martin Simmons is able to elevate that and make it truly visually compelling with his art. There are some incredibly awesome spreads. We dive deeper into the lore of the Department of Truth and the Ministry of Lies. The Ministry of Lies is like the equivalent of the Department of Truth in the Soviet Union. So we're diving deeper into post-World War II America, the launch of the Department of Truth, the Cold War they're having with the Soviets and the Ministry of Lies, and it's rapidly accelerating up to the point of the assassination of JFK. And if you've been following this book, you know that that's definitely been a core part of this book, that they haven't really revealed everything about that yet, and they start doing it here, and they do it in magnificent fashion. Seriously, even though this is one of the most exposition dump heavy comics out there, I love it. I just love those concepts. I love these ideas. I love how they're telling us this story. In particular, how they're telling it visually. Martin Simmons is doing next level work each issue of the Department of Truth. Then we got Saga. Saga is back with issue number 67, kicking off a new arc. A little bit of a time jump here. We skip ahead 6 months from the last arc, and now our main characters have joined the circus, basically, right? It's been so long since Saga's been out, and it hasn't been as long as it was when it took that, like, 4-year break, but it took me a second to kind of get, what has been happening, but you catch right back up. That's something that Brian K. Vaughan does so well in Saga. He always just does enough to nudge your memory back to where it needs to be so that the story sets perfectly in place in your head, right? He always moves the story forward a little bit in a bunch of different ways, and he still does it with this touch of humor. Fiona Staples' art, pretty much what you've come to expect in the latter issues of Saga, so Saga is back, and it's as good as it typically is. Then we've got Drawing Blood, issue number 4 here. This is from Kevin Eastman, David Avallone, and then we got Ben Bishop on the artwork. I'm really enjoying this book. It's kind of like it's like a fictionalized biography of Kevin Eastman, even though Kevin Eastman actually makes an appearance here, but it's about a comic book creator who created like the rascally, radiant, radioactive rodents or some, I don't know, they're like cats. I don't remember what they're called. But it's basically it's Kevin Eastman, it's the Turtles, it's kind of his story, though in this fictionalized version of his story, he gets wrapped up in some crime going on. He gets wrapped up with like a crime family. There's all kinds of craziness going on. In this one, I love the touch because there's a director who's making a movie based on this property, and he's talking about how they're not going to be mutant cats anymore. They're going to be aliens or something like that. And it harkens back to the Michael Bay days. So most of this issue is our main character having to survive the con experience when all the fans are just ready to tear him apart. But I'm enjoying this book. I really, really do. I love the Kevin Eastman cover. And you know what? It gets the smell of the week. All right, then we've got Spawn here with issue number 355. Look at that dope cover from my friend Mark Spears. Mark, you killed it again. What a great cover. Also, pretty solid issue of Spawn. Spawn books are awesome because they're $2.99 cardstock cover, and not even the big two can keep up with what our boy Todd is doing over in the Spawn universe, right? But Brett Booth's artwork is the selling point for me in this issue. The artwork is super solid. You find out a little bit of revelatory stuff about Green World and their taking over of Hell and how everything is not quite what it seems, but it moves the story forward. It's not going to change your life, but I really do love the art by Brett Booth, and I think this book has elevated itself a little bit since Brett Booth has come on. He did leave Gunslinger Spawn to come on to Spawn, and that book has kind of taken a little bit of a downturn for me, but Spawn has taken a little bit of an upturn. Then we got Sam and Twitch Case Files, issue number 5. Great artwork by Szymon Kudranski. And then you got Todd McFarlane and John Goff doing the story. The story's all right. It took a while to really get this issue going. It kind of felt like it was repeating some stuff, but then it does amp up. But there's something about Szymon Kudranski's artwork where I believe he did this stuff a few years ago. So if you look at his work on things like Something Epic or Blood Commandment, you can see the evolution of his work. And this is a little bit more of an earlier style for him, but it works because when it needs to be menacing, when it needs to be foreboding, it absolutely does. But like I said, it took a while to really get this issue kicking, but once it started kicking, it cooked a little bit until it ended on a pretty solid cliffhanger. So Sam and Twitch Case Files is pretty decent. Let's jump over to Marvel. X-Force, issue number 1, From the Ashes, A New Beginning. This is X-Force number 1, written now by Jeffrey Thorne. The art is Marcus Toe, I believe. And it's alright. It's Forge basically upgrades his power set. He can now see the problems in the world, and he thinks he knows how to fix them, so he assembles a new X-Force to go out and fix these problems, and I really liked the structure of this story. It seems to be each issue is going to be this team tackling one of these problems, and they do it in a really fast, kinetic, and action-packed way, and I appreciated that. In fact, out of all of the From the Ashes, A New Beginning books, this is the one I feel has the most promise. It does have a special appearance by Deadpool, because of course, he's the movie star right now, but the new team is comprised of Rachel Summers, we got Forge, we got Sage, we got Tank, I don't know who that is, but it seems cool, Captain Britain and Rachel Summers are an item now? When did that happen? I stopped reading X-Men books. But X-Force number 1 was delightfully surprising, so I'm excited to see how this develops, because the thing I really liked about it was the structure that is set up to be what this book is going to be. So that's going to be interesting to see. Black Widow, Venomous, I believe that this is a one-shot comic. It's kind of leading in to the upcoming Venom War stuff, which I'm not really excited about, but I definitely will be checking out at least the first issues. I don't like the idea of Black Widow having a symbiote. That's what she does now. And so in this issue, she decides she needs to take the symbiote to the Red Room that's in her head to train the symbiote. And it works. It really does work. I mean, it's a fine story. It's decent. It's like a training montage. It's cool. But what really sets this apart was the artwork. Luciana Vecchio, the artwork is incredible. The coloring is striking. The composition is absolutely amazing. There's some really great page designs here and panel layouts. Just really impressed with this book visually and also story-wise. I mean, maybe I had a low expectation of it, but I did enjoy the story. I enjoyed there's like a new iteration or costume of Black Widow, Venomous, whatever. I don't know, but I liked it. The art was freaking super sleek and cool. I thought that was great. Then we got What If Donald Duck became Wolverine? What if Donald Duck became Wolverine? I don't think anybody asked for this, but it's here, and it's exactly what you expect it to be. Just big, dumb fun. I mean, it's Donald Duck is Wolverine. Mickey Mouse is Hawkeye. Goofy is Hulk, right? And they're trying to stop Red Pete, right? Pete is the Red Skull or something like that. So it's an innocent, silly, funny book. It goes right in line with all the other Disney stuff that you typically see, but just Marvelized, and lots of like little like recreations of scenes and moments, famous moments from Wolverine's history. But with Donald Duck, like there's the Weapon X moment right there. There's the bit in here where they show him wearing all of his different costumes, and I mean, obviously this book ain't going to change your life. It's not going to get on any best of the year lists or anything like that, but this book is designed to do one thing, and that's just be silly, and that's what it is. So I liked it. I did. I thought it was pretty solid. Then we got Ultimate Spider-Man here with issue number 7. Very interesting issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. Jonathan Hickman is playing around with the technology that makes the Green Goblin suit and Spider-Man suit. You learn a little bit about that. You got Otto Octavius making his first full-on debut in the new Ultimate Universe here. And a very exciting ending that we all knew was coming, and then it happens, and it's still kind of surprising. But also some really interesting things start happening with Harry's suit that I definitely can see leading him into a not-so-cool direction in the future, you know what I'm saying? But I liked it. Marco Cicchetto's artwork, though, did feel a little slightly rushed, but it's still solid. It's Ultimate Spider-Man, Hickman, Cicchetto. I really did enjoy it. Then we got Blood Hunt, issue number 5. This is the final issue of Blood Hunt, and it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It's a pretty exciting ending. It felt like an abrupt ending, but it was an ending that was pretty exciting. We had a big Moon Knight reveal in the last issue. In this one, there's an even bigger reveal, because the way that Blood Hunt winds up wrapping up is setting up the next year of Marvel stories, and it's pretty awesome. I would advise you to avoid the spoilers if you could. They're already out there online, but this was awesome. I enjoyed it. The artwork was cool, but how the day gets saved and who does it and how that sets up where we're going to go in the future in the Marvel Universe, pretty cool. Pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool. So Blood Hunt number 5 kind of paid it off. Paid it off in a really interesting way and set up something very cool for the future. Then we've got Midnight Suns. That's right. This is Blood Hunt Midnight Suns, issue number 3. This is the Marvel Masterpieces set 3 Hildebrandt brothers doing Blade, so I had to pick that one up. This story's alright. It kind of like rushes through the ending of their own story, which wasn't so tied in to Blood Hunt. You felt like this book, especially written by Brian Hill, would focus more on Blade and what exactly happened, how he got possessed by this demon to start the whole Blood Hunt thing, but it kind of just wraps itself up pretty quickly and then has like an epilogue. Make sure you read the Blood Hunt before you read this, because it will kind of spoil some stuff for you. So will this issue of Fantastic Four right there we're about to talk about. But it was alright, a little bit of a letdown, but I do like this cover, and I'm glad that the setup here is setting up a very interesting Blade story that's going to start in October. Then we got Fantastic Four, issue number 22. Pretty dope cover by Alex Ross right there, but this was a pretty solid issue too. So Alicia Masters and Reed Richards, that are trying to save all these people from the vampire hordes that are out there. Plus you got Johnny and Ben and Sue doing their thing, trying to survive. There's some interesting, clever things being done with the group's powers, and it's a great focus in on Reed, and you don't usually see Reed and Alicia together, so seeing their chemistry was very interesting and cool. But man, Reed's really stretching himself a little too thin at times, right? And that's what happens here. Ryan North's Fantastic Four run has been pretty solid. It's all right, and as a Blood Hunt tie-in, it kind of works pretty solidly well. Then we got Hellverine here with issue number 3, a Stan Sakai cover. I mean, that's cool. That's freaking cool. This book is fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it, right? There's this secret group of the government. They're trying to use demons in soldiers. They're trying to like Ghost Rider is possessed by a demon. They're trying to get soldiers possessed by demons, but they kind of go a little off their rocker and they're trying to rein them back in. Meanwhile, you got Dakin as the new Hellverine. Wolverine's hunting them down. It's silly, it's big, it's dumb. It's like the Cenobites. Like, it's like, what if the military was trying to militarize the Cenobites, right? That's an interesting concept. So I like this book. I didn't think I would, but here I am 3 issues in, really liking it. Let's jump over to DC. And from DC, we have Absolute Power Task Force 7, issue number 3. And this is the only book from DC I read this week. They have a very light week. It is a 5th week, but DC's like not playing around. They just didn't release a lot. But I've enjoyed these Absolute Power Task Force X7 books. They're each focused on a different one of these Amazo robots that Amanda Waller has got out, stealing the powers from all the heroes and just kind of like placing her authority over the nation, right? This is focused on Jadestone, who is the Green Lantern equivalent Amazo robot, and no Hal Jordan action, though it is written by Jeremy Adams and it spins out of events from Green Lantern. So if you've been reading Green Lantern, you might want to pick this one up so that you can see the thread that's going to tie right back into Green Lantern. But this is an interesting one because so far both of these issues have been about one of these Amazo robots, the Superman one, the Aquaman one, just going out and just wrecking shit, right? This is a dude. This one, the Jadestone, he winds up absorbing Alan Scott's powers, and it starts kind of infecting him and making him question his directives and stuff like that. So it was an interesting spin and a twist, especially compared to what we've gotten in the previous 2 issues. So I think that so far, Task Force 7 has been a pretty solid tie-in that's helping flesh out the event more. And we haven't even gotten to issue 2 of Absolute Power yet, and already we've had so much, like, developed from that. So I actually liked this book. I thought it was pretty solid. Then from Udon Studios and Capcom, we got Final Fight issue number 1. Yo, back in the day, I used to go to Circle K. We get big gulp sodas. We'd have like, we'd get those like Hostess turtle pudding pies and other things like that, Airheads and corn nuts, and just, you know, we were kids and we would just go to this store and they had a Street Fighter 2 arcade and they had a Final Fight arcade, and we would just play the hell out of those things. So I definitely wanted to check this out, and it's fine. It's actually pretty cool. Usually I get really nostalgic about Street Fighter 2. I try to pick up a Street Fighter book or a Darkstalkers book, and I just can't get into it. Udon does like sexy art and stuff like that, but outside of that, there's usually not much for me to sink my teeth into, but Final Fight was a little bit different. And like, I don't really super remember the story of the game, but we used to play that thing all the damn time, so I recognize these characters, I recognize this plot, and it was fun. I really did enjoy it. I thought the art was pretty solid too. It's big, it's boisterous, it's explosive when it needs to be, and I really did like it. I enjoyed it. Plus, this cover is the cover of the week. Sorry, Mark, I wanted to give it to you because your cover on Spawn was dope, but man, this is a Streets of Fire homage and so perfectly done, and I even brought a prop, but there's my VHS copy of Streets of Fire, and there is the book, and just look at that cover. It's awesome. It's awesome. That's one of my favorite covers of the year right there. Then we got Street Fighter and Friends Swimsuit Special 2024. The Street Fighter books I do like from Udon are the swimsuit issues because there is no story. They're not even trying. It's just a bunch of pinup art. It's just a bunch of, like, sexy people in bathing suits. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm cool with it, you know, whatever. It's a swimsuit special. You might want to check it out if you're so into such things like that. We need more swimsuit specials. We do. Then from Mad Cave, we got a new one called Kosher Mafia. And just based on the title alone, you can figure out what it's about. It's about a Jewish mafia in this town that protects their own community. And this is set during the time of the beginnings and the rumblings of World War II, where they're figuring out what Germany's been doing to the Jewish people. And so there's some, like, the Kosher Mafia doesn't want to deal with it, and there's like a nefarious reason for that, but we don't have that revealed to us yet. But some members of the Kosher Mafia are like, that's not kosher with me, so they kind of break away. But this was interesting. It was cool. It's an interesting, cool spin on, like, World War II era mafia fiction that you don't typically get. So I appreciated it. I did like it. The art by Sammy Cavella was really solid. Not quite so intricate in some of the composition that we typically see in their work, like we would see in like Abbott, you know, the Abbott books, for instance, or the what was the Western book that Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler did? I can't remember what that book is called off the top of my head, but I liked the art. I liked the story. I thought it was a cool setup for an interesting premise. So, Kosher Mafia, issue number 1 from Mad Cave Studios. We have Daisy Chain, issue number 1. This is from Comicsburg, written by Alfred Page and Mike Lynch, with pretty decent artwork from Igor Kurelin. I liked this book. It was pretty solid. It's black and white with a touch of red, so it's like monochromatic, and I do like that. I appreciate that. But it's about this woman who's on this mission of revenge. She's like super sexy. She like goes to she's taking out these mob dudes, right? So she's trying to take out like the Vito family or something like that. So she like lures one thinking that he's gonna get some, and then all of a sudden she just kills him, right? So it's a very simple revenge story, but it was told in an interesting way. It didn't really go super above and beyond, but it just was a great, solid first issue of a comic book with sexy woman enacting revenge on some mobsters. So Daisy Chain, issue number 1. And there's like a mystery there that I'm sure we'll dive into deeper as that series progresses. Then we've got The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, issue number 11. I love this book. I love this book so much. It's written by James Tynion. Not really. It's Tate Bromball's book, but Tynion helps develop the character or the story or something like that. The art has always been solid. The story has been great. Now we're introduced to these 2 new characters that are werewolves, right? So Christopher Chaos is like a mad scientist kind of dude, and this book deals a lot with like modern problems for modern young people, and it does it in a not heavy-handed way that I think is very truthful, honest, and authentic, right? And so I love that about it, and I just love the supernatural tinge, right? Christopher Chaos is a little bit of a mad scientist. The Frankenstein monster is one of the characters here. They have this monster club. There's Dracula Boy, who's like a vampire. Then there's like this woman who's like a witch who can see ghosts and stuff like that. And now there are these 2 werewolves, these 2 werewolf siblings who are trying to infiltrate their monster club, and some ain't having it, some are. I really like this book, and like I said, I like the authentic representation of, I don't know, like just typical struggles that we all deal with. So I really do like this book, and I love the supernatural tint to it. Light week, that's really all I read. Den Book 2 is out in hardcover. I left it in the other room, but Richard Corbin's Den Book 2, recolored by Jose Villarrubia, I believe, is out this week, so very excited for that. But yeah, that's what I read, that's what I thought, so let's recap. Christopher Chaos continues to be amazing. Daisy Chain was a really solid start. Kosher Mafia was a cool concept, and it was executed in a pretty cool way. Street Fighter Swimsuit Special, TNA, y'all. Final Fight was fun and filled with nostalgia. It gets the cover of the week right there. Then we got Absolute Power Task Force 7, issue number 3, doing something different with the concept of this book and helping flesh out the world of Absolute Power. Hellverine, great Stan Sakai cover. Big dumb fun. I enjoyed it. Fantastic Four, pretty solid Blood Hunt tie-in. Then we got Midnight Suns, issue number 3, an alright Blood Hunt tie-in, but a cool Hildebrandt throwback cover. Blood Hunt number 5 wraps it up in a really satisfying way and sets up something big for the Marvel Universe. Ultimate Spider-Man, another solid issue, even though the art felt a bit rushed. What if Donald Duck became Wolverine? It would be a stupid, dumb comic that's fun and silly, and that's exactly what it is. Black Widow Venomous had some of the best Marvel artwork I have seen in a while. This was really solid artwork. This was really great. I enjoyed that. X-Force number 1, a great setup for what seems to be structurally a really exciting X-Men book focusing on Forge and other characters. Sam and Twitch Case Files is pretty cool, but it's got some atmospheric artwork. Spawn, great artwork, great cover from my boy Mark Spears, and a pretty interesting story. Drawing Blood, a faux semi-biographical story about Kevin Eastman, but also a little bit of David Avallone thrown in there, but still just a real fun comic that's poking fun at a lot of stuff. Saga's back, and Saga do what Saga do, which is just do good comics. Then we got the Department of Truth building up into the Kennedy assassination in magnificent fashion because of the wonderful spreads by Martin Simmons, but Book of the Week goes to Grommets, Issue number 3, great, authentic slice of life from the 80s with charm and a lot of nostalgic references. So there you go. That's what I read. That's what I thought. That's what I'm digging. What are you reading? What are you thinking? What are you digging? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. And Friday night, usually it's on Thursday, the last Thursday of the month, or after the last new comic book day, because it's be August 1st. Anyway, August 2nd, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time, the award-winning Best Comics of the Month stream. Me and a great panel of YouTubers and comic enthusiasts talking about our favorite books of July. So join us for that. I've been Rockin' Robbie Bills. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Keep on reading. Station. Pop, pop, boom!